August 14th, 2017. Madam Clerk, the roll.
Dalden.
Here.
Russell.
Here.
Vixen.
Here.
Cuthbertson. Giovanelli.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Ray.
Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. First, we will do receipt of a report from the Rochester Hills Public Library Liaison, Ms. Knox Potts.
All right.
Yay.
Welcome.
Hello, good evening. Thank you, City Council members, and thank you for all of those visitors, including our exchange student from South Korea. This is his first City Council meeting. So,
Welcome.
Yeah, hopefully it's not his last.
It might be. So this is the report number 3. And what we'll be doing is just going through a few things that happened throughout the year since last July. So the summer/fall of 2016, we replaced the boilers, and this was done successfully without disruption of any services. Nobody even noticed. So that was good because it was done around October, November-ish. The summer reason finale was at Spencer Park as usual, and thousands of children and adults participated in that last year. Pokemon Go took over Rochester, and the library participated in Pokestops, just like downtown Rochester. And this encouraged more people to get out and walk and explore the city and the library, and my preteens took part of that as well. A dedication of one of the newest little libraries at the park, and that's at Grigg Streets, and a special thank you to the mayor, and the police department and many others, including families of the neighborhood child care center in that area that attended.
It's fun.
Hoopla was offered, and that's digital music, audio, ebooks, comics, you name it. Hoopla is awesome. And you guys now get the opportunity to check out 5 times a month. I use it quite often. Very excellent service. Winter 2016 to 2017. We had sci-fi authors Travis Thompson and Wayne Bibbs. They were invited to discuss their upcoming titles, and the library continually strives to keep the public up to date on the newest titles, so keep a lookout. There was also a partnership that was created with Oakland University that allows all Oakland University students access to library cards at the Rochester Library. This is a first-time thing, so that should increase our numbers and the amount of students that we service. The Battle of Books took place again for the second year in a row after a break. They had been doing Battle of the Books before, and this encouraged 5th graders to read out loud and do above their normal reading. This is the second time that my children were able to participate as well, and it was wonderful. They read over 13 books outside of their regular educational reading. The library held their National Day of Service event in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. They hosted a children's book drive for Haven's residential program, their library. And this event was special to me because I'm a 4-H club leader, and we spent our morning dropping off donations and creating special bookmarks. Dr. Lee Meadows hosted a discussion on civility. Sorry, I'm a little nervous as usual. On civility, Dr. Lee discussed that civility is and what civility is and how common decency is constantly being challenged by social media and the day-to-day stress in modern life. Very true. There were several fun activities after hours at the library for 18 and over, and this helped attract millennials. These activities included but were not limited to Nerf Night, monthly adult coloring club, circus skills workshops, nostalgic 90s style recess night, and partnerships with the local library and brewery. These activities will continue throughout the library programming, and as you know, this went from last year into this year. They are continually doing that on a regular basis. The Polar Express was a big success again in December, and they had many opportunities for children to participate in crafts and travel through downtown Rochester to see the lights. Now we're at spring 2017, where we had authors in April, and that was held the week of the 24th. And this was a success with a signing party of various authors for different grades and ages. Authors in April is unique to Rochester, and it is a nonprofit group that brings authors to children and their parents, giving them the opportunity to meet renowned authors. This happens every year, so look for it in April. The library provided supplies to decorate the bikes and then held a bike parade to the park. Very interesting and new concept to get people out and moving. So that's another thing, promoting healthy activities. The library's new 3D printer gave the opportunity for patrons to learn about the printer and an opportunity to create a phone case using the printer, which is really cool. The library hosted an event about the Kennedy assassination by having an interview with Dallas detective Leeville. Leeville was present at the Kennedy assassination and was at Pearl Harbor when the Japanese attacked. This was one of the library's many bicentennial events to celebrate the city. The library invited author Kristen Meekoff to discuss her new book, A Widow's Guide to Healing. This event was offered to support anyone grieving the loss of a spouse. She addressed many complications that occurred with finances, parenting, and other decisions she had not prepared for while she was still grieving. The Book Face Challenge was a success in the month of March. The challenge invited patrons to find a book with a face and then cover their face and take a selfie with a book obscuring part or all of their face, and then post it on the Rochester Hills Library Facebook page. It was awesome. The library this was in the spring, the library added a new book bike to its fleet. It is a custom-made tricycle with an attached trailer that stocks various books. There was a contest to name the bike, and the winning name was the Book Peddler. The Book Peddler makes special appearances at special events throughout the community. You are also more than welcome to drive the Book Peddler if you'd like. We do provide training because it is an automatic type bike. And if there's a special event that the council or citizens are interested in doing, you can just contact the library.
I think we had it on Saturday.
Saturday?
The event. We did have it at the event because Kylie,
That's awesome. Very,
Amanda
very
got
nice
a hold
bike.
of me. Yep.
Yes, thank you. Summer 2017. Now we're up to date. The Big Blue Bus provided story time for the first time at the annual Great Start Picnic, and this picnic has been offered annually for free to families in early childhood community in Oakland County. Learn Rochester history by joining the bookmobile and the scavenger hunt all summer long. There were clues available every Monday at the outreach desk, and you would find the answers at one of Rochester's many historic sites. The library hosted a Tale of Two Trails, which was a partnership with the Rochester Museum and at Van Hoosen Farm. At this bicycle ride, you were able to meet the original Forrest Gump and learn how the Clinton River and Pan Creek trails came to be. The Friends of the Library. Friends of the Rochester Hills Public Library sponsored and supported the library with many events such as Wine, Wit, and Wisdom, holiday home tours, book sales, the Friends stores, tours of the General Manager Heritage Center, and many other activities. So we are continually thankful for their service. Additional information is that the library holds ongoing programs for those interested in learning English. These programs are led by a library employee and are 5 times a week. So there is somebody who's always running these programs. The end of summer reading was August 6th. The library staff reviews all comment cards that are left by patrons, and they reply to the comments cards that need to be addressed. The library provides many opportunities for teens to volunteer for various organizations and receive volunteer hours. And I would also like to personally thank the library for a wonderful ribbon cutting ceremony, and I appreciate all that you do. I am there. I keep track. We are a family of 9 right now, and I cannot thank you enough for your service. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. Mayor Pro
That
Tem.
was an amazing report. We could not have a better representative, so thank you so very much.
Yes, I'm always happy to get this, so thank you. Council, thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and move on. Next, we have presentation regarding the water and sewer. Mr. City Manager.
All right, it looks like my projector's warming up here.
I heard that.
I long for these.
And I know everybody at home does too.
Bated breath.
All right. I will try to bring as much energy as was just exude there for a moment
gonna be a
here, but this is a little bit more challenging topic. This is a Reader Digest version of what staff and I have presented at the OPC twice, over at the library, and at City Council at 2 different times. I did streamline it a bit just for brevity's sake, but that's the nuts and bolts is from those presentations. So this is on both the water and the sewer, and then we'll be talking a little bit later on this evening about some adjustments going forward. Just to highlight, on our sanitation system, the age of our system, we have almost a third that is pre-1960s. And the size of our system, we have on the 4 to 6 inch and the 8 inch, again, almost a third of our system. Total system is just over 53 miles. And again, this is on our sanitary. Our overall system, there's a lot of stuff that our guys are doing to ensure that our system's running smoothly. I'm not going to read through the whole list, and I will post this actually on our city website. But some of the things that you might see out in the field are the street sweeping, so that we're not having debris go into the system. The catch basin cleaning and restoration, so we're reducing flooding. Various inspections and addressing customer issues. But the guys are out there doing quite a bit. You've heard, council has heard, I don't know if the residents have heard, regarding the SRF, or State Revolving Fund Program. We'll be talking a little bit about this later on this evening, regarding the bottom line item there, the 20-year low-interest loan. We've come a long way, actually. So we've had the S2 grant of $1 million that helped identified through the inspections. We've had the SAW grant, where we're wrapping up this October, this fall. And we've identified quite a bit, and we're actually correcting some of those things, and that's why you'll hear a little bit later on this evening with some of the water losses. That's actually some of those losses have been reduced. Thus, we're able to save water not going out into the system, and able to capture that, reducing our cost. But again, later on this evening, I'll be talking about the 20-year low-interest loan at the 2.5% for approximately $4 million. This is the various projects that are part of that about $4 million low-interest loan. We have some manhole repairs. That's one of the other items on our agenda, awarding that contract this evening, as well as some of the various other projects that are kind of outlined here, as you can see throughout the community. All right. Some of the ways that we're rehabilitating our system, listed out several of those. We have trench list. We have open cut. And then there's, again, the manhole rehabilitation, some of the other methods. As you can kind of see on the right-hand side of the picture, first you have a site that actually hasn't been lined, and then you have where it's that liquidized plastic that then's hardened. So that's giving you the full depth lining there. As for our water system, over to that side, here's the age of the system. Again, about a third of our system is pre-1960s. The size we do have, again, in the 4 and 6 inch, again, close to a third of our system. The standard size that we're reaching for is 8 inches and above where appropriate. As we go through and fixing various things, we're looking at the road, the water, and the sanitary system. We do have a little bit more water infrastructure. So again, the other one was about 64 miles. We're just under 68 miles altogether. Oh, yep.
What is the unknown?
Let's see.
I mean, it's
Jump back too fast.
it's not much, but it's still over a mile of unknown. Is it like wood, or is
Probably not wood. We have some, and it's 1896. I guess is it the cast iron? 1895. Yeah, cast. So there's some that we just don't have.
haven't cambered it yet?
Pardon me.
We haven't cambered it.
We haven't cambered everything. So there is a small portion, as you see, it's about 2%. So there's some that we just have. We just don't have that specific age.
We know it's there. We just don't know. what
Correct.
it is.
How old it is. Yeah. Good question, though. All right. Again, similar to the sanitary system, our water department's out doing quite a bit. Again, you see from operating our treatment plant to doing the monthly, weekly, annual reports, eventually getting out our water quality report, working with Miss Dig on locations, meters, disconnections, and addressing customer issues, anything from low water pressure to rust in the water and those sort of things. Drinking water revolving fund, so the DWRF program, we've applied for this, and we hope to hear back this fall. We know we have more than probably, I want to say it's about $25 to $30 million worth of overall projects, but what we've identified here is about $6 million, again, that would qualify for a 20-year low-interest loan at about 2.5%. So we'll have more information coming before council later on this fall. Again, this is listing out throughout the community our overall water distribution systems. We have two systems, as council knows. On the eastern side, we receive our water through the Great Lakes Water Authority and then passed on through Shelby. And then on the western side is through the aquifers through our well. Again, our proposed locations for the rehabilitation. Again, there's going to be some open cuts, some other types, and I'll get into that in a second, but you can see this is what we've identified as part of the $6 million. Getting a little bit more into the specifics here and the actual locations, you see from the open cut with the bright green, and some pipe bursting and some other dimension components here. So specific, just getting into the specifics. Oop, I jumped ahead. Going really quick now. All right, go a little really sensitive. So here are again the type of methods. You have the open cut, we have the pipe bursting, relining, and then there's some directional drilling to the transfer. Here's where I just want to focus for a moment, as a lot of our residents are starting to get their water bills. This is the ordinance that was passed in late December that went into effect as July 1st. We have the ready-to-serve fee, which is now was increased, so that annually is at $96. The quarterly is at $24 for the sewer, and then right below that you see for the water. Those together equal the $192. Then we have some variable components and fixed components. So the fixed, again, is that $192, and the variable on the sewer rate is at a 20-cent, and then for the water rate is at 19. So we estimated for our average user, based on consumption and the fixed component, around $240. Now, where is that money and what is that specifically going to go to? You see up at the top, the ready-to-serve fee for the sewer component is going to raise just about $500,000, as will the water component. And then the variable component for the sewer at the 20 cents will raise about $161 based on what we're estimating for the average use, and the 19 cents for the water, that would be about $160, bringing in about $1.3 million. So where is that money going to get spent? That's listed right here. The first is about just under $400,000 in principal and interest for the SRF low interest loan over the 20 years. And then the other one, the DWRF, the drinking water one, is again for the principal and interest is about $381. And then what we're estimating going into our operations and maintenance specifically is about $500,000. Again, one water main break, we've seen up to $1 million. So building up our fund to be able to do other maintenance that, again, we know we have more than $20 million. The $6 million and the $4 will make a dent, but there is still quite a bit of work to do. Getting towards the end here, the actual water bill, just so that everybody can see, this is the front side, and then on the back, so it's going to spell out what everyone's specific use would be on the front. But on the back, you see down here on the bottom on the left-hand side, those 4 new categories are specifically getting called out. So you can see the WF is for the water infrastructure fixed, the SF is for the sewer infrastructure fixed, and then the WV and the SV are the water and sewer, the usage, so that's the variable component. That, again, is spelled out in the actual bill when a resident would see that money when we go through our budgeting process. Again, infrastructure is going to be designated out so everybody will see and will be able to target what we actually are estimating so that we can pay off the low interest loans that we've been going for. So that's my overall quick summary. I'm happy to answer questions. Again, I'll post this presentation on the website. Our water department, our finance department, myself are pretty familiar with almost all steps of this.
So, the audience, if you have any questions, you can either do it at this time or during miscellaneous public comment on this item. Does anybody want to speak right now? If you'd like to pertaining to this item, you can. All right.
One of the residents had a really high water bill and she'd had a meter put in, and they knows all about this. And it had been installed backwards, and the city has corrected that. My question is, are you going to look at any others that the city installed to see if there's any problem with those?
Yeah, so our smart water system that we do have, we, for the most part, we actually know based on the water usage if there's an
Okay.
issue. So, or a resident will call when they get a very low bill or if we're getting a high bill. There's actually, I would encourage residents to look, there's a little water droplet actually on the meter too. So if there is potentially a leak, that's going to notify things too. With our upcoming new software that we're installing as well, residents will actually be able to look online and actually check their water usage to also help us. So it'll be another way that
Okay.
people can be proactive.
That's
as well.
good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Council members, any questions for the city manager? We're all set? Okay. Thank you. Next, we will go to item 4C, which isn't on the agenda. It's something that we added. So I will have the Madam Clerk.
Actually, we're moving up items 9H and 9I.
So we'll do it that way. So I'm moving 9H and 9I to 4C.
Yes. July 27th, I submitted to council my notice of leaving. Since that time, I have had the ability to spend a few days out at the village of Oxford, and I have found that it's not going to work out as well as I thought it would. So my request this evening is for council to allow me to rescind my notice of leaving and dispose of the companion agenda item to fill the vacancy.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Cuthbertson, support by,
In the general area, it's,
I'm just like moving right along. Councilmember Giovanelli, support by Councilmember Peterson. Any discussion on the item? Councilmember Giovanelli.
I'm happy to make this motion. I'm
Yes.
glad it's working out the way it's working out. So.
Yes, and Councilmember Peterson.
Yes, and I thank the clerk for reaching out today regarding this, and afterwards I had a lot of reminiscing of what she's done here, and started some really incredible projects and things like that. So I think you started kind of a legacy that I hope you can, go forward with. So I'm very pleased that you're still here.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, thank you. I'm trying to find my notes because I was surprised that this was going to be moved up, and I'm doing this by paper. So I think this is exciting, and I think it's a new opportunity to take a look at the job description and make some tweaks and look at things that we are looking for in our clerk, maybe perhaps working more on the agenda versus the cemetery, looking at the opportunity of how council should be doing the evaluation with the city manager. I mean, that's our responsibility. As we've had several entities and boards and commissions come up here, how do they evaluate their directors? And we've got to do the same thing. When we're asking people to do that, we have to do the same thing. So what my request would be is to get that pulled together of what we're doing with the job description, how we're going to pull together our evaluation. And because whenever you have change, you have a unique opportunity to make those tweaks that are important to the community to just continue to move us forward. So I think this is a cool opportunity because we have our history, but we also have a new opportunity to make those changes that I think would be very necessary. So if we could have that maybe in 60 days, that would be I'd really appreciate that.
And I'll just, point of clarification, we decided to move it up so in case somebody came up to address the fact that you might be leaving, and so I thought it would be best that we get in the front end of this and not the back end, so that was why, and I think it was a good idea. So, Madam Clerk, the roll.
Dalden.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Hickson.
Yes.
Tovenelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will go to miscellaneous public comment. Now is the opportunity to come up and address anything that might not be on the agenda this evening. Please come forward.
Good evening. Steve Zook, 1639 Stony Creek Drive. I'm very pleased that Leanne is staying on. Everybody said to me, how can they let her go? What can they do to keep her? I mean, you've built a legacy. Everybody knew that the elections were perfect. I thank you for your service, and so do all of the people that I know. I'd like to make a little correction on what I said at the last meeting about the blight code. And I made it sound like the city employees were not doing their job. It isn't. That isn't the case. The case is that in my opinion, that the ordinance is flawed. They're following. I talked to Chief Cieslik, and he's following it right to the T. But if you follow it to the T, if you put in a complaint on May 31st, you would be lucky to get it handled within 10 to 12 weeks because of the way the system goes. So it's a little tough to figure out how you handle blight ordinances in the city when it takes the whole summer to get them corrected. And sometimes if you would turn it in July, it wouldn't get corrected for the year. I think the city needs to look at how they can take and make that a little bit better. And I'd like to also comment on the 3-minute speaking up here, the time limit that they were talking about. And Mr. Cusperson had put a response out that 3 meetings ago, the public comment took 1 hour and 27 minutes. And I had a couple people run through all of the council meetings for the year. But on that specific council meeting, it was prearranged presentations that were part of that. The city residents only spoke for 9 minutes and 36 seconds. So out of that hour and 20 minutes, and that was people trying to get marches and running and all kinds of stuff from people out of town trying to get something from the city and wasting the time. So I think maybe we should look at our events and things like that as to are they people that are from the city? Are there going to be a benefit to the city from doing it? Because a lot of these events that are coming to Rochester not because they love Rochester, it's because they're cheaper. They can get an event and they don't have to pay back as much services as they do anywhere else. So it's an inconvenience to a lot of the residents because people don't like being held up for runs trying to get out of their subdivisions. And I think we should look at what we're doing because I don't know if we're a city that's in the event business or we're just a city that's supposed to take care of the residents. Let's see what else we have. And the other thing is I've noticed up here by looking through these tapes is the redundant questions that council members ask. There's a lot of things that if they read the packet, they would know the answer because I've read the packet and I know the answer to the questions that they're asking. So you guys need to do a little bit more preparation. And I'm not that smart, so that looks really bad. Now Nick has been talking at the planning commissions about the traffic from all of these new buildings. And been traveling regularly, and I go to a city that's very similar in size to this. And I would hope that someone would be looking at not just the cars. When we take and we build a walking downtown, we also have the walkers. And you can have just a few more cars, but when you have the walkers coming from both directions and plugging up the crosswalk so there can be no right turns for the whole length of the light, the traffic jams are just huge. So when you ask for your traffic study, you might want to include the walkers rather than just 2% more cars.
It's a good point.
Yeah, because I've been looking to buy some property, and because of this situation, I'm not going to buy in that city. Oh, let's see, what else do we have? And our sundial. How did we do on the contributions to make the price?
Well, we've We sold 7 benches. The gnome was sponsored, all 20 decade stones, and we're over 100 with the bricks.
Right.
And we will have a number I will have a number out as soon as I can get everything, together.
And the program to dedicate it, I was on, I moved on.
Over 200 people attended.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was a really, we'll talk about it. You can watch it at home if you're going home.
Yes. I got an email
During
from someone says, does anybody consider putting a second hand on it? Would be quite interesting.
We got a couple comments like
Right.
that. I guess they don't remember
Yes, yes.
Sundial.
Yes. I've had the comment that said that it looks like a headless giraffe. And it's quite unique. I actually like it.
Thank you.
And the last one is Lilly Investments versus Rochester. Is there any headway being made on that can be spoken of?
Mr. City Attorney.
At this point, it's in litigation. That's all we can say.
Okay. Well, are you looking for a gag order on it when the settlement finally goes through?
I can't say that that's been discussed.
Okay.
I'm not the attorney who's handling the case
Okay.
for the city, but I suppose if it gets to that point, then there'll be some discussions.
Okay. And one more last issue, Ms. Councilperson Russell. When you were talking about the sound system, the minutes from the Planning Commission meeting had not been read yet, and a meeting before that and the meeting after that, I asked Kathy about that. I should say Mayor Dalton,
That's okay.
and it was on public record on both the videos that what was going on with that. So, again, I thank you all for your time so much, and have a wonderful evening.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I'd like to respond to a couple things. Mr. Zook, I love your passion. You're an amazing man that tries to keep our city in line here. The blight ordinance, maybe there is something that we need to, take a look at. So maybe we can do some review on that and see if we can tweak a few little things. But on ordinances in general, it's just like a speeding. When you're going downtown, there's going to be people that are speeding and not speeding. You have your signs up there, and you can't have a police on every single corner to make sure that every single person is going the exact speed. So I appreciate your vigor on this, and some of the things we do need to tweak, but also there's things that people just have to be responsible for. And the other thing with planning commission minutes and that type of thing, they have to, it can't just be in the minutes or on videotape, because we serve on several different committees. It must be reported here at council, because that's where we get our information. Right. And we're just currently now getting the agendas, which I think is a great addition. So I think that will close the gap.
Okay, because it's unusual that I would know about it and you wouldn't.
Not really. You obviously have, that's all you do is look at all of our stuff.
No, I don't. I pay people to look at it.
Mr. Zook, I cannot look at every single planning commission.
that.
I don't serve on that commission.
I understand that.
Thank you.
I understand that. And getting back to ordinances, when a complaint about an ordinance is written, I'm not expecting people to look at something. But when you have ordinances that have been in violation of certain things that have been discussed at the council and that have taken
You need to come to the microphone.
okay, that have been discussed at the council and have been addressed by the council. And 2 and 3 years later, still not done. That doesn't look good. And if you have any question on what I'm talking about, you can ask Mr. Banda. He'll know, because I don't want to bring it out on television. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other miscellaneous public comment this evening?
I had a few things. The first one you may already know about, but I'm not sure everybody else does. Edison is going to put a lot of money into our city next year in that northeast corner of the old part of the city that should, I guess, relieve most of the problems we've been having for the last 30 years. So, and there's a little section out on Tinkin and Adams that they're going to work on, which I can tell you is a problem area too. And that'll get finished this year. The other one's scheduled for next year. So I want to thank our county commissioner for working on that and getting that accomplished. Also, I've talked to an awful lot of people since the event on Saturday, and they didn't know what was happening. the name was deceptive. Rochester Homecoming, people think schools, football. And so the headlines, even in stories, were that, had that headline and not that it was a bicentennial. So just for future thought, when you have events, you might want to really consider what your title, how they're titled, because I know people who would have gone that didn't because they didn't know that's what it was.
I understand, and I, just for the record, Oakland Press, Rochester Post, Community Lifestyles, Rochester Gazette, Rochester Media, Downtown Publications, A Week on the Radio Station, a web page that ran listing the bicentennial homecoming with all the events. We also had social media from the DDA. We had from the chamber, from council members. We had Founders Day included in the presentation, community breakfast, Outlook breakfast that was done, In Town magazine. So I do appreciate the concern that people had, but I also want to stress the fact that we did get the word out, and people don't
I'm
always.
not saying that it
and
didn't
I'm not.
get out
This
there.
isn't against you, Ms. Douglas. Please understand that I think you're always going to miss somebody, and that's unfortunate. But I do think that proper consideration, and I think they did a fair job of getting the word out the best they could. There's always going to be somebody that's missed it, and I appreciate the fact that you're passing along that information, and I do appreciate that. So thank you.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to comment on was, once again, I hardly go to a planning commission meeting when there are over 7 people there. And we have a 9-member planning commission, and we have people who just, obviously it's not a strong commitment for them. You can have a 7-member planning commission. If that's all we're going to have there, maybe that's what we should do, but
Just so you know, I have one spot that I still have to fill, but we've been pretty consistent with our attendance at the meeting. The last meeting, there were some issues. I know some people had some family
but
things
still,
that they had to take care of.
just
I
juggling
think
it
by
around.
and large, the planning commission.
By and
they've done
large,
a-
it's 7 people, though. That's the bottom
fine.
line.
Thank you, Ms. Douglas. Any other miscellaneous public comment this evening? Stuart, Mr.
Yes, can I
Vixen,
respond to
Councilmember
something?
Vixen.
Something Ms. Douglas said. About DTE, since the last meeting, we did have another power outage in my area. And unfortunately, Blaine has to start to receive my text when that starts because my neighbors are outraged all the time. So you say DTE is going to fix the problem. I've got to see that to believe it, because right now they have zero credibility with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Vixen. Next, we will move on to the approval of the minutes. Consideration of the minutes of the regular meeting of July 24th, 2017.
So moved.
I have motion by the Mayor Pro Tem. I have support. Support by Councilmember Peterson. Are there any adjustments to the minutes?
Madam
Yes.
Mayor? Yes, I would just, I do think that, I know it's been brought up before, but there was a lot of discussion in that last meeting with some of the presentations and different things that had taken place. And I know a lot of the minutes weren't there. I mean, all the criteria wasn't there that was spoken of. So my question is, I guess overall, because everyone has asked for more in there, I mean, is there something that we can do to where we know how much is going to go in there or what's going to go in there? Because these ones were pretty light, and so I didn't know. Normally, you just have to put in your, the motions and some of that, but I didn't know how we wanted to address that. Because these ones I thought were just a little light, so.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I guess, maybe that's part of, I think that the clerk is doing exactly what Robert Rules of Order, it's very concise. The problem is there's no historical history, so if you go back into some of the minutes and some of the other boards and commissions, you have a better, so if you're searching for something, you have a better opportunity to really see the dollars that are spent and some of the actions that are made and some of the discussion. So maybe that's something that could be part of that 60-day, possibility of saying, okay, let's do some markers because this council wants a little bit more, and maybe have the clerk give us an idea of what that is, what could be.
Well, and I guess, and that was my concern, I wanted to know, are we going to have a book here, or, because now that we are all on video, I understand from the planning commission, there is so much detail that goes into a lot of that, even though everything is now videoed. How much do we have to put in here? And I guess that's why I brought it up, because even though it was short in here, it was to the point, and we can go back and watch it. So I guess, I don't know if we can then, while this was all being done in the 60 days, have, see what really should be done, so we can, not continually bring it up.
Yeah, maybe the Mayor Pro Tem's point and your point would be there's a happy medium somewhere in the two, between the Robert's Rules of Order and then getting into a lot of detail that you really might not necessarily need. Let's try to work on that when we come together for over the next 60 days. I think we can find a compromise on that.
No, and I think it would be good, because I don't want it to come back on the clerk either that something's missing or that it's taken out of context, and I guess that's the biggest thing with all our minutes now being recorded.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Madam Clerk, the roll.
Belden,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Jovenelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Next, we will do approval of the consent agenda. I have 4 items this evening. Consideration of a special event application from the Paint Creek Trailways Commission to hold the Labor Day Bridge Walk on Monday, September 4th, 2017 in the Rochester Municipal Park. Consideration of a special event application from Crittenton Hospital to hold the Breast Cancer Awareness Walk on Wednesday, October 4th, 2017. Consideration of a special event application from the Michigan Ovarian Cancer National Alliance to hold Turn Your Town Teal event through September. And consideration of a request to approve a renewal for a leased employee agreement with Superior Air Ground Ambulance Service of Michigan for the Fire Department's ALS service.
Madam Mayor, if we
Yes.
could pull D.
And would you like to approve A, B, and C?
Yes, that would be
So I have a motion to approve A, B, and C. Do I have support?
Support.
Support by the Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion on A, B, or C? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Belden,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Jovenelli,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson, item D.
Yep, I only had one question, and I don't know who would answer it. And mine, I just wanted to know, when this was all set up with the fire department and the ALS service, were there any federal dollars? Did, like some communities get federal dollars to start these programs?
If the chief could actually come up and kind of give a little bit of the history. I know he's actually even been working on, I think the program that you're actually talking about too is we're looking to the future. So Chief, if you could.
Oh, okay.
Sure, I guess this is the week for history. So not 200 years ago, but about 8 years ago, I presented to council a proposal to start our own ALS service based on a need and a requirement to improve the services to our residents, because we were waiting up to 30 to 40 minutes for a community ambulance to provide services to us. So we put together a business case and presented to council with the thought process of using a contracted agency to provide our ALS personnel and supplement that with fire department, EMS, EMTs, and medical first responders. Currently, we receive some reimbursement from insurance companies and things for the services that we provide. And at this time, we do not receive any federal funding, although at the time there was some federal funding available for what's called SAFER grants, and that's to go ahead and improve staffing at the fire departments. It's not generally looked at just for EMS, it's looked at for improving the whole fire department process. And so we have been working on some requests for SAFER funding to help supplement in the fire department. In the grant process, we don't know if we'll get that money or not. But to directly answer your question, back 8 years ago, and when we started the process, we did not receive federal funding. The council, in its wisdom, voted to support it from then the fire department budget.
Awesome, I'll make a motion to approve D.
Motion by Councilmember Peterson. Do I have support? Support by Councilmember Giovanelli. Any discussion? Councilmember?
I don't know if you were gonna, I just think when we added ALS, that was just a great benefit to our citizens.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the, better things we've done on this council in a long time. So thank you to the chief for that.
Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, just sort of augment. You can sit, Chief. We're just gonna toot your horn for you. You don't have to be up here for it. ALS, for those who don't know, is Advanced Life Support. So in the city of Rochester, we did not have Advanced Life Support prior to 8 years ago. One of the first things we did after myself and Mr. Mattis and Kim got on council was to reaffirm our police department, and the second thing to do was to get ALS done. So that was two big wins for public safety in this city, and I joked at the time when we were going to give Chief Cieslik a marketing budget for the doctors and the nurses over at the hospital to get the transports to help pay for it. But the thing I love about Chief Cieslik is everything he brings to us has a business case attached to it, and he runs it like a business. All departments do, but really the chief more because he has that opportunity more than the other departments. And no stone is ever left unturned, so I appreciate that, Chief. I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Yes.
And Madam Mayor, and I want to thank him as well. I think that's a great service. I wasn't here 8 years ago when you presented it, so just the history was great, and I appreciate that moving forward.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalton.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Giovanelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Next, no public hearings this evening. Next, we have legislative deliberation. Item A, consideration of an ordinance to amend Chapter 54, Utilities, Article 2, Water Supply and Sewage Treatment System, Division 6, Meters, and Division 9, Water and Sewer Bills to update provisions for irrigation meters and water, sewer, and pollutant discharge billing and rates. So much fun. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, I'm happy to take that one, and I might at a certain point in time pull up our Public Works Director as well. Annually, we've been updating our billing rates. That's the main portion here. This year, we also looked at the ordinance, and there is a red line version in your packet. I'm just going to hit on a few of the highlights. Basically, there's 3 elements here that staff is changing. I'm going to kind of explain why. Also comment that our infrastructure committee is, along with staff, is making all of these recommendations. The first one is a pass-through with our sewer component. We've received from the Oakland County Water Resource Commission that there was an increase. Last year we didn't have one, so I didn't bring anything before council to discuss, as there wasn't an increase to discuss at that time. This year there is a proposed pass-through increase of 6 cents that would start on September 1st of 2017. This would bring the city-wide sewer rate, both sides, the west side and the east side, so regardless if you're on the Great Lakes Water Authority or if you're on the Well Water Authority, it would change the rate from $3.09 per 100 cubic feet to $3.15 per 100 cubic feet. This increase equates annually to about $6.24 to $9.12 annually as our average users. That's what our finance departments help me calculate out. Next, staff spent some time reviewing the city's well water and Great Lakes Water Authority rates, noting personnel and benefit costs have increased, as well as our water plants costs have increased. On the personnel, I'll just note that the union contract with our employees there's just under a 2% increase. However, the majority is really with our health insurance costs that have increased just over 19%, so that did have an impact. And then there are some water plant costs. So for the well water proposed rate, we currently are paying 86 cents per 100 cubic feet. We're recommending a 3-cent increase to 89 cents per 100 cubic feet. Additionally, the ready-to-serve quarterly rate would increase from $6.92, again, quarterly, per meter equivalent unit, or MEU, to $8.21 per MEU. Again, this is per quarter. That equates to about $2.07 quarterly, or $8.28 annually for the average well water user. Finally, what we're looking at is reviewing the Great Lakes Water Authority usage rate. Again, under our newly adopted rate structure that went into effect as of 7/1/17, the water usage rate component, the pass-through cost from Shelby, the water loss differential between the volume billed to the city customers versus the volume of water provided by the Great Lakes Water Authority through Shelby, and that 20% increase with that agreement that we have, so the proportionate share of the operational distribution cost. It's been determined that the operation of the West Side water system is approximately 34% of the total cost of our system. Additionally, with the installation of our new water meters, the accuracy of our water billing has improved substantially, thereby reducing our water loss. So these items, what we're looking at with the 3-year running average calculation, we're looking at a decrease. Last year we had a cost of $5.24 per 100 cubic feet, and we're recommending to go to $4.84 per 100 cubic feet. In addition, the ready-to-serve quarterly rate would increase slightly from $5.12 per meter equivalent unit to $5.30 per MEU. These adjustments equate to a savings of about $15.02 per quarter, or about $60.08 annually for the average Great Lakes water user starting September 1st if approved. I did include in the packet a water and sewer rate adjustment comparison. I also included a sewer and water rate adjustment that has some notes that actually gives a little bit more detail on each one of those things. The final component that the staff, along with the infrastructure committee, discussed was reviewing a policy regarding the location of our irrigation meters. Attached is a policy that, like I said, was approved by the infrastructure committee as well as staff. The infrastructure committee tweaked this slightly by adding in the policy, which is listed as 4I, a no adjustment or look back clause. I'm happy to answer any questions. I know our finance director is here to support me as well. Yeah, and Anthony back there too.
So I will ask if anybody in the audience has any questions or comments on this item. Otherwise, I'll go to council. Council. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, so, you know, I know that I've gotten several concerns because it is a big bump for people annually. I mean, we're talking, you know, over $250. I think it's $260 some annually. So one of the things that's important for us to move forward is really looking at our benefits, because if you look at the city well water and the ready-to-use quarterly, we're bumping that from $692 to $821, and you know the wages were not that much of an increase. It was 1.7, I believe.
Yeah, 1.75.
1.75, but benefits an increase of 19% with us bearing the whole brunt of that. You know, I think we really have to move towards how we're going to share that, even if it's just a little bit of percentage. That's something that we have to look at. The other question I have is, in that we have 30% of the time by city staff to operate the water system. So I'm not sure, so city staff, is that all of city staff or just the city staff that is particularly associated with the water system? And then how are we going to measure that 80% of the time, that variable portion of the billing, and 20% is applied to the fixed portion ready to serve? I mean, how are we going to measure that?
Sure. Let me first address the first question there. So we have really two individuals in our water department and then a portion of our director's salaries in there. So that's the portion that we're talking about. They're spending 30% of their time on, or 34%, so it's about a third of their time on one portion of the system, which is the Great Lakes Water Authority. There's a lot more work to be done on our well water system with the treatment with the plant and that sort of stuff. The water on the Great Lakes Water Authority side actually is just getting passed through the pipes. We do have to do some measuring and testing and that sort of stuff, but there's a lot more work that has to be done, so that's the other 2/3 is actually there. But it's those 3 employees. Occasionally we might need to bring in a few more if we have a water main break, and that's where we flex over from our streets department mainly, or potentially from parks to help out with water main breaks.
Okay, so can I respond
Sure,
to that?
yeah.
Okay, so this is for the audience, not that I did not know that answer, but what it says is city staff. So those are the things that make it very confusing. So if we could put in just a little something, because then, so thank you for the answer, and we talked about the
Yeah, we did,
answer,
yep.
but it's for the audience that's asking me these questions so that they understand the answer as well. So part 2.
Yep, the second part, I believe you're talking about how are we ensuring the 80% and the 20%. Right now, it's actually per the structure, and I think that is something that we're looking at annually. I truly believe that structure, when we looked at it with Unbaugh, which was our consultant back in 2013, a few years before I got here, and then went into place in 2015, I think going forward, I think we need to have a full year underneath it, but I think myself, Shannon, our new director, Anthony as our new finance director, potentially another consultant, to actually look to make sure that we have the right balance of what's fixed and what is variable. So I'll be coming before council with a recommendation, most likely probably 9 months to a year on that, but I do want to get some time so that we don't keep on jerking around and moving, but that we have some consistency, that we can validate our systems and our processes.
Okay. So,
Yes.
So, unless we have a motion, this is where I feel things possibly could fall through the cracks. So we have something that we want to have a year under our belt to get this information, but then if there's not a motion attached to it, how do we know? Because there's so many things that go on, and there's so many things that we need to, make sure that we're on check with what we're voting for up here. And so this is one of those things that I would be looking at. Okay, so how are we going to get that report on the next, rate adjustment? Do you need a motion, or do you feel like you have this under control?
Yep. So annually, as we have this currently by ordinance, and then I think staff is looking in the future to have this by a resolution. Probably within the next 3 months, we'd be coming forward with that more solidified component, so that staff and what I do with my staff is Megan, the executive assistant, is putting together anything that comes up for discussion on goals and objectives, or anything that is has a date that needs to be sunset and revised. So we have an Excel sheet, so we're hopefully bringing these things forward to you, but if we want to put them in a motion so that they're in the minutes, we're happy to do that as well.
So I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So this is where the quandary goes, because I don't want to have, if we need to have a motion every time we can, but anything that goes into, okay, let's put this in goals and objectives, or let's discuss this, if that could be in the minutes, because then you can search it, because going through and trying to go through every single tape, it's impossible. So, but if you can put it in the search bar, then you can say, then it will come up in the minute meetings. And so that's really what my goal is just to have those kind of little targeted things. So when we go to goals and objectives, we, have met all those markers. All right, thank you.
So, do I have a motion for first reading and introduction for the ordinance portion?
moved.
A second.
So I have a motion by Councilmember Giovanelli, support by Councilmember Peterson. Do I have discussion on this part? Councilmember Peterson.
Yeah, I wanted to, as a member of the infrastructure committee, I wanted to thank, staff, and Ms. Filaraki and everybody who's worked really hard at breaking this down, making it very informational for everybody. We spent the last meeting really going over this to where it would be very readable to every resident, so they would understand what was going on moving forward, and so there wouldn't be the questions, or in total transparency on this here. So I want to thank them for all of that, because it really made this a lot better moving forward than what we've had in the past. And a lot of that other things that weren't on here, I guess, that we discussed was all the maintenance that goes into this too. So these numbers all included the maintenance of what's the city staff and that for working on the well system versus the other system and things like that. So our DPW director and Anthony and everybody else at the staff has just done a phenomenal job really breaking this down for us. So it made that meeting that we had a very good meeting moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Golden,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Vixen,
No.
Jovenelli,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Next, you mentioned in here that you'd like a motion to approve the proposed irrigation policy.
Yep.
So that's a separate motion.
It is.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
Motions.
Councilmember Peterson, are you making a motion to
Yeah, I'll
support?
make a motion to support the change.
Okay, and Councilmember Giovanelli is supporting
I
it?
support the support.
Thank you. Discussion on this motion. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Golden,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Jovenelli,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Next is item 8B, consideration of a zoning ordinance amendment regarding mixed-use district. Mr. Deputy City Manager, Ms. Planner,
All video.
Vidya.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam
Thank
Mayor.
you.
Before the City Council is the next of the zoning ordinance districts. This is the next step of the master plan implementation. The first district the council adopted was the Reverse Edge District. This is the second district. Based on the guidance received from the City Council last time, you wanted us to bring districts in pairs so that you could see what is right next to it, so that what the impact of the uses would be on abutting areas. So the two districts that are before you tonight, that are items B and C, are the Mixed Use 1 and the Downtown Edge 2. This is the Mixed Use 1 district, and it encompasses a pretty significant area and picks up a lot of the big parcels. The text is designed in order to take advantage of where it is located. Unlike the west side of Main Street, the east side of Main Street does not immediately abut any single-family residential. So the scope for development and slightly more intensive uses is greater, and so that's where these uses have been placed. The district development standards, the text, the height, the setbacks were extensively discussed at the Planning Commission meeting, to the level of picking out individual sites and making sure that the setbacks that are put in place would still take into account the existing development patterns. So as the City Council had also requested, each of these has got, this is the map superimposed on an aerial, and the plan will also include just the map coloring. So it is easy for reference when somebody wants to see which property the district is located in. It is before the council tonight to place for a public hearing at your next meeting, at which time you would take an action on the district. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have on the actual details of the text itself.
Sure, I'm going to first go, does anybody in the audience have a comment on this item this evening?
Just that base, even the size of those huge properties where you can put high-rise, they don't have any required lot coverage or frontage requirement like they do in the 0102 district that's proposed in the master plan under the name office. So I'm just gonna keep pointing that out.
Okay, thank you. Council. Councilmember Peterson.
Couple. I pulled out the old proposed potential intensity change area plan, the old PICA, and we had right above 2nd Street and Water there, that area and south of that, and then further south, those parcels were all marked for public space. That was like option 2 and option 2 a while back. So I wanted to know, I mean, those are privately held pieces of property, so I'm not sure how the public space came into play, and I wanted to know whether or not, are we allowing for any green space down there, or is that going to be part of every potential development that comes in?
The future land use plan that was adopted by the city in the master plan does not indicate any public space. Public space is designated in green, and the adopted master plan that was adopted does not indicate any public space except for the presence of the actual creek and the trail itself over here. The rest of it is all developable land. That's what it was adopted.
Okay, that's why this one here showed, and this must have been one that was never approved then, so I guess that was why, and there was the confusion, and that's why I wanted to verify, since those were privately held properties, they never really were public space.
Right. This is
Okay.
the adopted master plan, future
Okay.
land use plan.
All right, so, I guess with that, I mean, are we going to, and with all of that, I know the developers and everyone can do what they want, but are we going to have any green space left along there besides just the river itself?
Yes. The fact that the district does not have a minimum lot size or lot width requirements for parcels over here does not mean that people can build lot line to lot line. Each of these developments that come in here still have to meet the full parking requirements of the district. When there is parking, landscaping is a must. Green belts along public street rights of way are a must. Interior site landscaping is a must. The site design elements by themselves will control just how big a development can be placed on a property. So a developer is not going to be able to buy a parcel and say, okay, it's 2 acres and I'm going to leave like a sliver on the side and just build up on the rest of it. By the time you account for the floor space, the parking, the landscaping within the parking lots, interior landscaping, amenities, you will be shrinking and your building will be set back behind it. The reason to not put absolute in planning, the reason to not put in absolute minimums, that was the old way of doing it. You're not restricting development and you're giving room for creativity. Maybe a developer can come up with a plan that you hadn't really anticipated. But if our ordinance is so hard and fast, there is no room for flexibility. You don't want to take them and send them to get a variance. Variances are not recommended. We'd rather have good site design that takes into account all the development elements and standards, and that dictates just what you can do with your parcel.
Okay, so green space, I'm sorry, Madam
Yes.
Mayor. So green space would be considered part of that? Is that-
Absolutely. It will
okay.
be an essential component of any and every development.
Okay, so nothing in this area would ever be zero lot line without leaving green space?
I don't think the Planning Commission would entertain such a proposal either. We
Okay.
haven't, even the ones that have come with not too great setbacks, they have been directed to revise their plans.
Okay. The only other thing I have having a really hard time with is this is our main core commercial development area, and having it have mixed use in there to bring residential and business, I think that we're missing the potential for utilizing this land space for the tax base that this community needs to help take care of the infrastructure and everything like that. And I know we can't tell people what to do, but if we continue adding to where everything can be mixed use and mixing things, I mean, what do we do? And yeah, Nick, you can.
No, and it's a great question, and it's the elephant in the room at every planning commission meeting now. So this is on TV, so anybody can see this. So Mr. Mosheri came in and talked about wanting to develop on north of Second, west of the creek, between Water and Second, on Mr. Rewald's property. I'm sorry, I apologize. He's on the east side of the creek by Second Elizabeth, where the Rewald property is today. 99% of the communities in this state right now, if a guy came in and said, I'm going to spend $73 million on an incredible 6-story building, would jump because of tax base. So the Planning Commission said, while we respect you, Mr. Mosheri, and over time we will analyze what you're asking to bring to this town, but we're going to be in control of our own destiny. Tax base is one thing. The fact is that we can't improve our infrastructure on Second, Third, Fourth, or University, or Water, or East. We can't widen roads like in other suburbs where you just add a lane. So they said, we want to get an economic impact study. It's a really Excel spreadsheet, and we want a traffic one that we control. So probably on the 28th of August, I'm going to come back, and I'm working with McKenna right now to put together a package to say we want to set up a big model. And when the developers come in, they plug into our model, so we know what is the impact. What's the trips generated for mixed use? Can we really get away with more office, which could mean more tax dollars? What's that balance before we break the bank where we have gridlock down there? We can't afford to do that. So it's a fine balance between tax base and reasonability and sustainability, so we can continue to not change how the city is, where we're locking everything down. So it's extremely at the forefront of everybody's mind right now to make that balance somehow.
I think I would also add to that, I believe at the last meeting there was a question, even the Planning Commission had actually brought up this question saying, we are creating these new districts. What new uses are we approving that is not previously allowed where it's located? And for that reason, I created this table, which is kind of overwhelming when you look at it. It is color-coded, it doesn't print out the best, but it gives you a comparison table of what it's currently zoned. The area that is shown as mixed-use 1 there is currently predominantly zoned Industrial 1. And Industrial 1 is not the highest and the best use of this land, and it's not what Rochester needs, not considering its proximity to downtown and its development capability. The fact that we are changing it from industrial to mixed use 1 increases the development potential, and it would be safe to say it actually increases your possible tax revenues from this property compared to what it is currently zoned as.
I just want to make one point that I think Mr. Zoe touched upon, that we touched upon at Planning Commission. We had a special Planning Commission meeting, is the Planning Commission has taken a step back, and Mr. Moseri was the first developer that was basically told us that we are coming up with a holistic approach of how we look at these areas. We just because somebody has $80 million and wants to build a tall structure doesn't mean it's something that's going to work, because we have to consider people on the streets, people on their bicycles, cars that are driving around, the age of the people that are walking and taking their kids in strollers, or we have to consider this all together. So I think this is a good, we went through this, we went down to the individual parcels and looked at them. So the Planning Commission is taking a more holistic look from a broader, I like to look above broader perspective in that regards.
And Madam Mayor, the ultimate result of that would be a joint meeting of the Planning Commission and the City Council to talk about that. How much do we want to discourage or encourage, right? So they need direction from you, the policymakers, to weigh in on that. So when we're ready in the next few months, we will have a joint meeting, or request a joint meeting of you all and the Planning Commission, so that we can all be on the same page as we work with the developers. We don't want to discourage them, but we want them to know our expectations too.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I mean, this is really important stuff, because the vision of today, what we do today, is really going to affect tomorrow and in the future. You know, one of my concerns is we have a lot of senior living, and the baby boomers are coming to an end, and we have all the senior living, and in 20 years, what's that look like? Maybe cool apartments? I don't know. But, you know, those are things that I know that we have to make changes, and I do appreciate the flexibility of the MU1 versus industrial, because that's really where our community is going, and so that's the vision of what we want to do. But I think part of maybe what Councilmember Peterson is, you know, talking about, that I have concern, and I know Mr. Douglas has concern too, is one of the most complained about developments that we have in the city is on Romeo and Main, because it's so right there. There is going to be a little green space, very little green space. It's right up against the sidewalk. I mean, it's right there. So those are the things that I'm concerned about too, because, you know, that went through, but until it actually physically gets there, it's very difficult to see what the impact is. And I don't really want to see something that's close in the future in this particular mixed-use district. So tell me what kind of things that we have in play to help us guard from that kind of activity.
I think the critical difference between what we have in our current zoning ordinance and what we have in all these new proposed districts is this entire section called development standards. Our current ordinance, if somebody has got the parcel that you're referring to at the corner, I believe is zoned B1, if I'm not mistaken, at the corner of Romeo and that. It's just got B1 districts. As long as they meet the setbacks, there are literally no standards in the ordinance for us to require anything. Whatever we get is what the applicant designs, and within the strict limits of what the Planning Commission is allowed to ask, we could ask only that. We couldn't ask anything more, because then the applicant would immediately turn around and say, where does it say in the ordinance that's required? And we need to have an answer when that question comes. The new districts are very clear, and as a PICA, the absolute control on these projects rests with the Planning Commission and ultimately the City Council, which is the one that approves the PICA. Mm-hmm. So if a project does not satisfactorily meet the need for green space and give back to the community what is expected for it to qualify as a special project, it's just not going through. And the concern is very well placed with regard to how many senior, housing we are getting. These are wonderful projects, but a very good thing. This building is going to stand for the next 50 years. What's it going to look like? So the Planning Commission at its last meeting said it's not just going to be the project and the details of the project. We are going to need an economic feasibility study. You're saying there is a market. Where is the data that tells us that there is actually a market, and all of that market is in Rochester? Mm-hmm. So we are requiring traffic studies that not just take into account the development itself. It takes into account the surrounding streets, the intersections, and what Mr. Zelk said. Now, walkability is important, but if there's If there's a conflict between the pedestrians and the traffic, then you have a problem. You haven't accounted for everybody who's using the same roadways. So I think the way the PCAs are written, it gives a lot more control than what we currently have in our ordinance, which limits us to what we can and cannot ask. So the development standards, in fact, were gone over pretty much item by item, and some were taken out, some were put in, some were rewritten, just to make sure that we get a development that will stand the test of time.
So I just want to address your senior citizens. It's not unlike in the 1960s and 70s when we built tons of schools, because all these kids were going, my generation were all going to school. So a lot of communities, Livonia, had 20 elementary schools, 5 junior highs, 4 high schools. Now what's happened? They're selling off their elementary schools. They're down to 2 high schools. They only need 3 junior highs. So those are the kind of things that we're thinking about, because we want to know, do we really need all this? Is it really? So I think Planning Commission is at that stage where they're asking those questions. So I'm just giving some feedback from a planner on the commission. So Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the action we're looking for here is to set a public hearing. I'd be happy to make that motion to set the public hearing.
September 11th.
September 11th.
Yep. So I have a motion by Councilmember Giovanelli. Do I have support to set the public? Support by the Mayor Pro Tem. Did I have any other discussion on this one?
I would just, I just want to make sure that we are always going to go for the highest and best use of the property. I mean, that's going to be...
Absolutely.
I mean, in looking at the map, there's really not much development left on there unless it's redevelopment. And I can see how these standards for redevelopment would actually make more sense than something coming in new. And I only had one other question on rear yard. It says there's no minimum rear yard setback requirement. So...
Front parking is not typically allowed in the front yard, so
Okay,
most of your parking
okay.
will have to go in the rear yard. You're going to have a rear yard whether you like it or not. There is going to be one.
Okay. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalton.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Giovanelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
So the same with consideration of a zoning ordinance amendment regarding a downtown Edge 2 district. It's to set the public hearing. Did anybody have any questions before I have Vidya do the start of this on this one? Please, proceed.
The downtown Edge 2 is a sister district to the mixed use 1. However, this is geared more to allow for the expansion of the existing downtown businesses. Our downtown is full. There's really no room to grow anymore within that. So the downtown Edge 1, which is on the west side of Main Street, and this is the downtown Edge 2 on the east side of Main Street. There are some parcels that are picked up on the west side, north of University, and the south, because the profile of those blocks and the height, the topography actually works for the design standards of the downtown Edge 2 versus the downtown Edge 1, which is slightly more restrictive because of all the residential to the west of it. So this district, once again, is intended to provide a support for the commercial business uses and base. And currently, most of these parcels are zoned the Central Business District or Business 1, B1 General Business District. So we are keeping the business classification the same. The use profile and the development standards are more clearly etched out so that they are in harmony. And there is a lot of emphasis on amenities, public space, making it more walkable. So I think this goes well with the mixed-use 1 district. They gently work as a transition from Main Street downtown. And just one question that frequently comes up regarding building height at all of the Planning Commission meetings. Any and every one of these projects, when they go about 3 stories or so tall, they have to submit to something called as a line of sight test. This line of sight test is not merely an architectural diagram that shows a cross section. Several of the last projects have had private drones flown over to show you what the line of sight is going to be, simulated graphics, put in a 6-story building that looks realistic to show how the line of sight is going to be from all adjacent streets. We don't want any of the new development, even though it is architecturally attractive, to overshadow what the existing historic Rochester downtown and the existing historic buildings are. So we are always cognizant, even though the development standards allow for additional height, that additional height is conditioned upon passing those tests.
Okay.
One question,
yes.
Madam Mayor. So there, I did not see any height, there's not any height listed in here at all on either of these mixed, downtown Edge 1 or 2, or mixed use 1 and downtown Edge 2. There's no height variables there.
In the development standards, if you look at it, item 7 on the downtown H2, it says maximum height of the principal building shall not exceed 40 feet or 3 stories. However, oh, are you missing a page?
No, I miss
Okay.
seeing that on that
Yes,
one.
we,
Okay.
we do have minimum, in some districts, we have a minimum height where we don't want them to build a 2-story where a 2-story is going to look unusual compared to the buildings around it. You have to be in sync with what is around you. And in some places, we have a maximum building height, and if they want to go anywhere above that, they will have to pass all the line of test that the Planning Commission established. The Planning Commission has to become, if it's a PICA, it's going to come back before City Council, and City Council has to be satisfied that the test has also been met.
So do I have a Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, I'm sorry to elaborate on this, but on the footnote on page 4, it's about the Planning Commission shall have discretion. Can you just touch a little bit, because
Yes.
okay.
The Planning Commission, during the discussion of what the minimum dwelling unit size should be, suddenly the question came about, what about these tiny homes, or, what is the smallest size home that is permissible by the state of Michigan? The smallest size home that conforms to a building code as a residence is 64 square feet. If it's got a kitchen and a place to sleep, it's a house. The Planning Commission didn't want to venture anywhere near that because that does not fit. However, with a minimum residential unit size of which we previously had was much higher, it does not cater to a young professional who is single, who's just starting working out. They want to be in Rochester in a walkable community, but they don't need 800 or 1,000 square feet of living space. While we don't want a building with a proliferation of smaller units, which subsequently means more parking too, the Planning Commission said we do want to accommodate that population. It's also more affordable. So for a small slice, the younger professionals, we're looking at all these new developments for the aging population. This is for the younger population, to welcome them into the community. So eventually the hope is they will come into these smaller units and then move on to buy a home and raise their family in the community. So it also comes under limitation of no more than 25% if the Planning Commission feels that the rest of the development meets. If there are issues with regard to parking, traffic, the Planning Commission can choose to not allow that to happen.
Okay. So my understanding is that discretion part is the 25%. They can make that fit whatever they think is the development.
Or not.
Or
Yes.
not. Okay.
Yes. It's a conditional use approval, which means it also has to meet subjective standards in
Okay.
addition to the objective ones. So if the Planning Commission feels adding these 10 additional units is increasing traffic, that's not in the interest of public safety.
Okay. And I thank you for that, and I know this is coming before a public hearing, but you have to realize that this is the first time that we, as a
Absolutely.
council, have a
that's why
chance to
we're-
really, absorb this. And the other thing that I would like to look at sometime in the future is our parking numbers again, because there's been a lot of changes. We have little tweaks that we, can make. And when we first established the parking numbers, we were going to those are one of the things that we're going to take a look at to make sure that it's, that it's working to what we need in our community. So that's something that I would like to just see in the, in the future, to make sure that we're on target with what our needs are.
Absolutely.
So
Okay.
put that in the minutes.
So do we have a motion to set a public hearing for item C? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember
I had a
Bixson.
question, a little off topic. We're talking about the heights and, there's a downtown, but like Councilmember Russell said, with the building on Romeo and Main, I mean, that is very unpopular, I would say, in town. I mean, is that, we gonna have more, or did that happen because it was so far from downtown that it was just, they could do whatever they wanted? Is that's the question?
Yeah, I can. Whoops. So, again, I would ask people to wait until it's done and the trees are planted in front of it, and you see the pocket park on the corner, and you think of Condor Lofts. Condor Lofts isn't set back much further. Number one. Number two, I think it's less likely that you would see something that close. I think that's 10 feet off the property line, and as Vidya pointed out, that's what the ordinance allowed for. And now we're talking about these continuous pedestrian corridors, so they might be 10 feet, 15 feet. I will tell you that what Mr. Mosheri brought in was very close to the road, and the Planning Commission let them right off the bat. We've had experience with that already at Romeo, and might be too close. Maybe we need 20 feet with trees, full trees, not bushes, So they are very cognizant of that. The ordinance allowed for that. That was the fastest approval, not because the work wasn't done on it, but they had a really smart architect that came in and said, here's your ordinance, and you have condor lofts right there, so it's kind of like that. But I think it'll look a lot softer when it's done, quite frankly. I just do, because I've seen the renderings, and they look
That building is not in a PICA. It did not get special projects approval. It was a straight site plan approval. And they designed it in such a way that it's just meeting the ordinance requirements.
So, thank you, Councilmember Dixon. Do I have a motion to set a public hearing?
So moved. Support.
I have a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem, support by Councilmember Peterson. Any other discussion?
And just one question. So that means in both of these things that we were approving tonight, they're going to always have residential mixed in there, or can they do, like the other one that was over on Walnut, they said that it could be 2 different uses, but was it ever specified that it had to be residential and another use?
Yes, it was true mixed use, not a mix of uses,
Okay.
mixed use in a building. Yes, I think we clarified that in the intent, because the
Okay.
Planning Commission brought that up, It's open to interpretation, so we tightened the language to make sure it's true mixed use.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure so it wasn't putting us here with any issues with doing that forward.
Madam Clerk, the roll.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Jovenelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Next is consideration of a request for conditional rezoning of 19919, West University Drive from O2 to O1.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The proposal before the City Council tonight is to set a public hearing for a request for conditional rezoning. This is an existing office building just east of Helen, south of University. It's got 2 buildings, staggered, sort of. The whole site is zoned O1. The doctor who's purchased the parcel would like to use the rear building as a medical office building. O1 zoning does not allow for medical office uses. So the request is to rezone the parcel to, it's zoned O2, which does not, it's zoned O2, which does not allow medical office uses. And their request is to rezone the parcel to O1 so that medical office uses could be permitted. And the request is presented as a conditional rezoning. Conditional rezoning is basically a tool offered by state law wherein an applicant can request a rezoning which they think a community might have reservations about accepting, so they offer to place conditions that will address the concerns that come up. In this case, the applicant has voluntarily offered up the condition that the medical office use will be restricted to the rear building only, and further, they have placed restrictions on all types of office uses on the entire site, anything that will generate more customer traffic, even the uses that would otherwise be allowed. They have voluntarily issued a statement of conditions that says we will not allow for any uses that are service office. Service office means that will have a high turnover of customers. They are not going to have any real estate, bank branch, savings or loan, credit union, mortgage, loan office company, utility office company, or any such uses. They're voluntarily saying we are not going to have any of these uses because these are the uses that would possibly generate higher traffic. The site does have existing 27 parking spaces, and even if they use the rear building as a medical office building, they will still meet the parking requirements for the district. The only one small differentiation over this is if rezoned to O1, the site will still comply with all of the requirements of our zoning ordinance, except for one small detail, which is setback from a residential district. For an O2 district, the required setback is 20 feet, and for the O1, it is 30 feet. This building is at 28 feet, so it will be non-conforming by 2 feet. And that non-conformity is limited to half of the backyard of one single-family residence. That is to its southeast. So the building footprint is going to remain where it is. There is no expansion, no changes proposed whatsoever. So a community can voluntarily create non-conformities if there are no perceived adverse impacts. And the Planning Commission determined that that's really not going to change anything. And they found the applicant's statement of conditions acceptable. They did place a condition that they need to have a reciprocal access agreement with the building that it's to its west, because this site has got an access drive of University, but you can get off on Helen. So that way your traffic flow is easy and you're not causing backups on University. And I think the applicant's representative, Mr. Seaman, is here tonight, and He just messaged me earlier this evening that the agreement has already been given to the neighbor, and they're working on trying to get the document signed.
So tonight's action is to set a public hearing.
Correct.
Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this building is right next to the Crittenden office building, so it's like medical's there already.
Exactly.
So I mean, this is all just really, technicalities as far as I'm concerned.
If I may, to be fair, so, the Crittenden office building is financial. They don't have any medical in there.
Right.
But the doctor that just purchased the property is a dentist across the street, and he also wanted to have his 2,500 square foot dental office in the building. It has extra parking because of a reciprocal agreement with the church. So again, he's looking at a conditional rezoning to say, I'll keep the building general office and then just my dental office. And if you look down University, and part of the reason that Plan Commission looked favorably on this is 01 all the way down into town has medical in it. And they're right in the people's backyard. I don't know where 02 came from. I think they were worried about, at the time, having clinics and hospital-driven things that are really, really heavy.
Patient intensive.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got you.
And then I think they worried about, and maybe rightly so, but the buildings along there's so many dentists and medical all the way down. So with the conditions, it's really tied up tight, so it can't get any worse.
Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you,
follow-up.
and thanks for the clarification, Nick. So what is the enforcement mechanism on the letter of understanding that we've got with the proposed property?
If they violate any terms of the statement of conditions, the conditional rezoning automatically gets negated and it goes back to being 02.
Got it, okay. So,
It's permanently binding. Any violation of the terms of agreement will revert it back to its original zoning.
got it, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So is that if it's sold as well?
It goes with the building.
It
goes
is
with
like
the
a
bill-
variance. It'll be in perpetuity with the property,
Okay.
the restrictions on the uses and the medical office use.
And so then this is going to be a single tax, because I see that in your subject of your recommendations.
Yes.
Is that going to be a single taxed
Yes,
parcel then?
it's funnily enough, both the buildings are on one tax parcel, but this narrow sliver of one row of parking on the east side facing university is one tax parcel by itself.
So that's being combined? so
Yes,
it's
I
all-
had recommended
okay.
that they, and I don't think the applicant has any problem with it.
Okay, very good, thank you.
So do I have Councilmember
Yeah,
Peterson?
come on. Okay, so, not the big building, it's the building behind. Okay, I mean, I'm very familiar with it. That's, I'll make a motion
To
to
set a public hearing?
set a public hearing.
I have a motion by Councilmember Peterson to set the public hearing, support by the Mayor Pro Tem. Any other discussion?
Did you need a date, Madam Clerk?
It's in the
Oh, okay.
September 11th. Thank
My
you.
favorite day for public. hearing.
Madam Clerk, the roll.
Sheldon?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Vixen?
Yes.
Giovanelli?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes,
Mayor, do you mind?
Yes.
Lydia, she got a long drive back to South Lyon, so if we're good.
South Canton.
South Canton, I said South.
Do I have any
That's our
public,
attorney's
Same
South Lyon,
typical
sorry.
direction.
South
Just
Lyon,
Further,
sorry.
further,
Sorry
is
about
there
that.
any other
No.
public comment on this item before I close it?
I did speak to this on the planning commission, and my biggest concern was that parking, or the driveway access in the rear off of Helen. And when I went out to leave, both sides were out there talking, and hopefully they'll get that resolved. And the office building that we're talking about, so that they thought they had an agreement, but they can't find it, so they said, well, you know what that means. So they were quite amenable, and it looked like that would be worked out, so I think that's great,
Yeah.
because I think it would be bad to put more traffic coming, ingress and egressing off of University there.
Yep, I think they're gonna be
Okay.
able to work it out.
So, and I
Okay.
want to thank them for working on that.
Thank you. Any other,
All set?
we're all set? Thank you. Next
Thank you,
week.
Lydia.
Thank you.
Good luck, Vidya.
She always does a great job. Reports and regular business. Confirmation of Lisa Germani Williams for a term expiring May 31st, 2018 to the Downtown Development Authority. Do I have a motion to approve the
so moved.
motion by Councilmember Peterson, support by the Mayor Pro Tem. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Sheldon?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Vixen?
Yes.
Giovanelli?
yes.
Peterson?
Yes,
Next, do I have confirmation of Douglas Van Slembrook for a term expiring May 31st, 2020 to the Historical Commission.
So moved.
support.
I have a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem, support by Councilmember Peterson. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Sheldon?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Vixen?
Yes.
Giovanelli?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes,
Consideration of a request to award engineering services for the Water Asset Management Plan. Mr. City Manager.
Going to have our Public Works Director come up as well. Rochester needs to develop a water asset management program for the city's water system. The requirement, I believe, is January 1st of 2018.
We have to be implementing
Implement.
a water
Okay.
asset management plan by January 1st of 2018.
I'll hand it over to Shannon.
As you know, we are currently working on developing an asset management plan for the sanitary sewer and the storm sewer systems through the SAW grant program. The one that is basically coming upon us earlier, as far as guidelines are concerned or regulations are concerned with the DEQ, is the one for the water treatment plant or for the water system itself. So we have to have an asset management plan in place and ready to implement by January 1 of 2018. Since I've been here, one hasn't been started as of yet. So I reached out to Johnson and Anderson. They handle most of our water system work, the water treatment plant work. They've done the water reliability study. They've done the other two, the water master plan and the project plan for the drinking water revolving fund. So much of that data will be pulled together and utilized to draft the water asset management plan. So what you have in front of you tonight is their proposal to do that work and have that done for us in a timely fashion so that we can meet the DEQ's guideline.
Thank you. Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, so the hourly schedule in Exhibit B, is that together with the water assessment management program, or what is the because I'm thinking that they can because they've done so many of these programs for us that they can utilize that data.
Yes.
So what is the cost? I don't.
In the scope of services, it breaks down what different pieces of work need to be done.
So is that the Exhibit B that that we're giving, or is that a different?
No, there's a letter
okay.
from Johnson and Anderson dated August 2nd, 2017.
Under professional fees,
Okay. Okay, all right. So I'll go ahead and continue to speak, and I will try to find that.
it's listed out under professional fees, A, B.
Oh, okay,
and
gotcha.
Section 5.
Yes,
It's like a
okay, so not to
36,000.
exceed the 24,400.
Well, there's different pieces.
There's three different pieces. In the work that they've done already in our water system, they've identified that there's some discrepancies between what we actually have in the field and what is currently in our GIS system. So they'll be rolling that into this project as well so that our GIS will now be updated. And then the second component the second additional cost is for incorporation of the necessary forms to utilize the SETARU program that was purchased as part of the SAW grant for the capital improvement planning portion of it.
Okay.
So we can take the software that was already purchased through that grant program and now create the forms necessary and be able to roll it out in water as well. So there's a cost savings there.
Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a point of clarification. So on Section V under the fees, there's A, B, and C. Add them all together. It's about $36,000
yep.
all in. Two questions. When I die, I'm going to come back into this business where you're basically, finding ways and going before and getting. It's a beautiful business model with like zero marketing costs. It's just outstanding. But that said, does this count towards our spend for SAW, and are we going to be able to add any of this back? No, it's all sort of.
SAW is for sanitary and stormwater only. There are no grants available for water asset management planning.
Oh, okay. But we had a certain dollar amount that we had to submit. If
No,
memory
we
serves.
cannot do this as reimbursement expenses or
Got
match
it.
dollars.
So we're eating this. So
And it,
yummy.
yeah, and it is a requirement as
It
well.
is a
so
requirement
we
of the
have- We
DEQ.
have to do it, so.
Make a motion to go ahead and approve it. It is a
So
unfunded
I
mandate.
I have a
Exactly what it
motion
is.
by Councilmember Giovanelli, support by the Mayor Pro Tem. The Mayor Pro Tem, did you have a question?
I did, so how did we, because this is a requirement and it's not in our budget piece of this whole program, so how did that get, you might not know that answer because you might not have been here, but how did we have that misstep?
I cannot answer that question for you. I wasn't here. I just know when I came in, one of the things I looked at was are we going to meet the requirement? We have our asset management, or we have a reliability study, we have a master plan, and we have the DWRF. I think the big focus has been on trying to get the drinking water revolving fund application in. And once we got those underway,
But
I
now
took the
we're
next
going to
step
have
to
a
get us
plan.
the asset management plan.
Well, and I guess, I can totally appreciate that. It's just that these little things, they start to add up, and we've had, a few of them, not too many. But even, I'm surprised that Johnson and Anderson, because they've done so much for us, didn't say, hey, you guys need X.
My
for this.
understanding is they had notified the city that this was work that needed to be done.
Okay, all right.
If they loved us, they would have threw it in, though, but just,
Yeah, I mean,
Yep. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Stovenelli.
yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Next is consideration of a resolution to award the contract for manhole rehabilitation to VIL Construction Incorporated. Mr. City Manager.
Yep. This is the second time that this actually is before council. Staff, along with our engineering firm, went through, addressed the questions that council has asked. Myself, Shannon, along with our engineers, met with the lowest bidder, and we are satisfied that with our engineers we'll be able to follow up and make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. We did look to see if there was any issues. If we did disqualify them, there really weren't. We actually did look at a couple of the past projects. Two of them actually were not them, that were in the memory that it might have been them. And one was that when we looked with our past engineering firm, it doesn't appear that they were actually notified that there were some issues. So we've contacted current references, and for the I won't say lack of difficulty for this project, but this, compared to the other two projects that were approved, this is the easier of the three. This is one that we feel this vendor has the experience with, and they have staff that can handle this project.
Madam Mayor.
I'm looking out. Does anybody in the audience have any? All right, I'll move on. Councilmember Peterson.
Make a motion to move this forward.
For a motion to approve the resolution of award and award the sanitary sewer manhole rehabilitation program to VIL Construction in the amount of $830,698.
Support.
And if we can just add that it's going to be funded through the state's SRF program as well.
Okay, Councilmember Peterson made the motion. The Mayor Pro Tem supported it. Do I have any other discussion?
I have a quick comment on it.
Yep, go ahead. I'll go to Councilmember Vixen after.
Yeah,
Coun-
I mean,
Yep.
I'll support this, but I mean, they did that project wrong, and then they claimed that they had no idea that they did it wrong. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, that's a rhetorical question, I guess. But I mean, it's like,
Maybe we can explain that a
it's
little.
like they're, is ignorance of their bad job mean that they're off the hook for responsibility? I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like.
Is this in reference to the Sycamore
Yes.
project? My understanding is they did the work, they thought they were doing the work in accordance with what was being required of them by the previous consulting engineering firm. When the storm sewer system started to deteriorate, it was a couple of years after the project was complete, and our previous firm never reached out to VIL to tell them that there was a problem and ask them to come back and fix it. It was something that the DPW staff just went out and corrected.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
And, with that, those are the things, those little things concern me. And I know, I feel like we're getting, because we don't want to attack the person, we want to attack the system. And I'm hoping that we're getting a system that's solid for this, because VIL, I mean, I have concerns. We have a bad taste in our mouth because of this. And I know that probably most of those people are gone and there's new people in the office. That's what I hear, at least. So I think my only direction would be is making sure that our engineers and that everyone is really on top of this so that we have a clean, good experience with this project. And I do think that the manhole rehabilitation is one of the easier ones, so this is probably a good way to introduce VIL. Thank you.
We did have extensive discussions with them. We brought them in for a meeting after the last council meeting. We talked to them about the council's concern with their past practice, with their past work, and with some of the references that we had gotten. Everybody said the work was done in accordance with the plan. It met the deadline, but they struggled to keep things clean or neat when they did the project. So we had a very frank and open discussion with VIL on the fact that their past practice here didn't leave a real good taste, and this is an opportunity for them to change the perception. So our hope for them is that they will be working diligently on this, keeping it clean, doing what they can to jump through whatever hoops to provide us with a superior product so that it may open the door for them in the future.
Thank you.
And Madam Mayor, yes, and one, so they'll be constantly, the city and yourself will be monitoring them during the whole entire project.
Right.
So.
Johnson and Anderson will be out doing the inspections during the manhole repair work. So we will have somebody on site keeping an eye on the work that they're doing and addressing any of the concerns, as well as myself.
Well, I have all the faith in you, so that's good.
Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Jovinelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Thank you.
We can withhold the 36 grand.
Consideration of an agreement for Brownfield Consult Services. Mr. City Manager.
Actually, I'm going to pass this one to Nick.
I'll take it. Council, at your joint meeting with the Brownfield Authority, we introduced you to Brett from AKT Peerless. In the Brownfield world, the city needs 2 outside consultants. The cost of those outside consultants will be borne by the developer asking for a brownfield consideration. That's the way the state set it up. So they'll have their own consultants, and they have to pay for our consultants to make sure that everything's what they submit to do. So a part of that, I know, it's a good gig. But Jeff Haynes from Bar Howlett is our environmental attorney. He's worked closely with AKT Peerless. We put a request for proposals out. They rose to the top. They've got experience on the private side and in the public and the municipal side. And they're very knowledgeable, and they're on our side. So they're working for us, hopefully hand in hand with the developer. If we're going to have conflicts, then there's obviously something not right here. So our goal is not to ding the developer for extra fees for the attorney, for the environmental. It's the better work they submit, it'll make us very efficient and keep that down. Today we had our first Brownfield Authority meeting. We got the policy. That will be sent to you probably in a week. So that we kept it really short and sweet. We'll have our first Brownfield actual consideration of a plan in 2 weeks on the Rewald side with the loan and grant. So this will complete my consultant list. Again, 99% of their work will be bid out. If there was something that we needed them for, then obviously it would come out of ours. And remember, we get money in for application fees, and then there's a percentage. When you're the Brownfield grantor at the state, you get a pretty nice little chunk of money that you set in your account to use it for environmental consulting. So I think this will be great. We support AKT Peerless and hope that you would approve them to be our consultant. Thank you.
Council, any comment from the audience? Council?
Madam Mayor?
Yes. Councilmember Peterson.
From our joint meeting that we had with the setup with the Brownfield, I think that both of those entities are going to be very positive for the community, and I'm more than happy to make a motion to move this forward.
To approve the agreement?
Yep.
So I have a motion by Councilmember Peterson. Do I have support on?
Support.
Support by the Mayor Pro Tem. Any other further discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Jovinelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Next is item F, consideration of a bond authorizing resolution for 2017 capital improvement bonds. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, to move forward with the sewer project as outlined in the city's SRF application, the city needs to authorize a capital improvement bond resolution. On August 9th, Director Phil Recchi, our consultants, and I talked with the Michigan Finance Authority, commonly known as the Authority, and the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. During that meeting, projects and costs were discussed, and I have our consultant here to walk us through and give us the Reader Digest version, if you will.
The bond guy.
The bond guy,
That's
exactly.
Cool.
Yes,
James.
Yeah, unfortunately not that one. Yeah.
Do you have anything under your coat?
I wish. Just a calculator. That's all. So you may recall in June, at the June 26th meeting, Council authorized the publication of a notice of intent to issue bonds, which had an associated right of referendum with it. That expired as of 5 o'clock today, and no petitions were filed, according to the clerk. So the next action is to actually authorize the issuance of the bonds. Again, the bonds correlate directly to the loan that the state is making. So the loan proceeds actually acquire the bonds from the city. That's how, under state law, that's how this program actually works. So again, as part of that discussion, the project descriptions, the costs were estimated at approximately $3,850,000. Some tweaking was done actually just as of earlier today, so the project is down slightly to about $3,780,000 as estimate. So the resolution actually authorizes issuance of bonds of up to $3,850,000. But it has within it the automatic ability for it to be reduced based on what DEQ ultimately approves as part of their order of approval. That's expected this August 25th. A purchase contract would come to the city for execution. The resolution authorizes execution of the purchase contract. And we'd actually close the bond issue on September 15th, which means that funds would be available to be drawn down from the state beginning on September 15th to fund the projects. So the resolution's here for your consideration. If there's any questions or concerns, I'd be happy to address those. But that's the timing associated with the project.
Thank you. Any comment out there in the public? Trying to make sure I remember. Council?
Don't everybody jump at once.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, I know.
So, do we have a motion to,
We've beaten this thing to death, so
Yeah.
I think this sort of is what it is, so I'll
Yep.
make a motion to go ahead and authorize the issuance of the bonds.
I have a motion by the Councilmember Giovanelli. Do I have support on the motion?
Support.
Support by the mayor.
On a bond.
Yeah, but
Especially a $4
support
million
by the mayor-
one, right?
Support by the, I'll second by the
Go
mayor.
big or
pro
go
tem.
home.
Any discussion on this item? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalton?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Vixen?
Yes.
Giovanelli?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aren't you glad you
Thank
stayed?
you for sitting all through all of that for that.
I mean, Madam
Yeah,
Mayor,
yes, absolutely.
I mean, I just, so, really quick, I mean, we're sort of joking about this, but we've really talked about this thing ad nauseum, so it's not like we just rolled up here and just spent $4 million.
No,
that
we've
really-
been
I would say
years.
probably, we've been aging in dog years over this particular conversation, so I appreciate
more gray
everybody's efforts, and you get to come in and get all the glory, but we had all the sausage-making part up until this point in time, so I just wanted to make sure
Yeah,
everybody
these
was
are
crystal.
multi-year projects. I mean, with the project plan, you're going through that now with drinking water. I mean,
Yeah,
you'll
yeah,
have the
no.
same process with bonds
We've
at the
been
end of it
working
later.
on this for a long, long time. We've gone through a lot of PowerPoint presentations for this item, so.
Death by PowerPoint. Yeah. It's, but you know, in all seriousness, I just want to make sure people are crystal clear that we're just not up here rolling around throwing $4 million away.
No.
We've really been beating this thing up. So I joke, it was more or less a sign of relief to get this thing sort of going. So thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. Next is consideration of a request to create a new no parking zone on Mahaffey between Northwood and North Hill School. Mr. City Manager, I'm guessing that, are you
Yep,
doing that?
I'd
Yep,
be happy
okay,
to, and then if the chief
absolutely.
has any follow-up. But the police department's been working with the North Hill School staff and transportation committee to evaluate parking and traffic patterns to assist with the student drop-off and pickup. This request has been made to restrict the parking off of McAfee during the pickup and drop-off times. Happy to kind of talk a little bit more, but really the requested action is to evaluate the request to implement a no parking zone on McAfee between Northwood and the North Hill School parking area.
Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I always ask the chief, has anybody complained about this yet? 'Cause this is like our, you know, typically when these things come before us, you know, this is the, you know, proverbial no-brainer because we're trying to make sure the area is as safe for kids as possible. But was there any neighbors giving an alternate opinion as to the desired action here?
We reached out to the home, this zone runs along one residence, and she understands the dilemma that's faced with the
Sure.
school lineup, and as long as the restriction pertains only to school days, she was all for it.
Okay, great.
In fact, it would assist her somewhat from having vehicles
Blocking it.
blocking and paralleling her residence.
Got it. Okay, thank you, Chief.
Mayor Pro Tem.
And I mean, I think it's a really great idea. How's the signing going to work, or is there going to be something at the school? I mean, because it's very short, like, section right there.
Well, that was one of the reasons to reach out to the resident to explain that there'll be signage that will be placed essentially on her property. Also, there'll be information that's going out to the students' parents, who are the people that will be most affected by that. This is also in addition to the crossing guard that was approved,
Right.
if you recall, at the end of the budget time. So all
Okay.
those things will be in place to hopefully make this go smooth.
Okay. And then my other question was on the crossing guard is because part of it is to really encourage more walking for the students. Have they seen any, or do you know of any extra walking activity going on? I mean, that was really part of their
Sure.
presentation.
Once we get to the start of school year, we'll hopefully see that to increase, and I'm sure the transportation committee will be publicizing that and getting the word out to hopefully increase that traffic, the foot traffic.
Okay. I mean, those are one of the reports that's, important that we've made this investment, that we want to make sure that we're, having that communication so people know that this is something that we've invested in. So we really want the students to walk and get their exercise and all that good stuff.
Put down the electronics.
Put down electronics. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I see some
I
people
know.
pulling out 2 streets over to drive their children.
So you need a motion?
So moved.
A motion by the Councilmember Giovanelli, support by Councilmember Peterson. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Sheldon?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Giovanelli?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Right, no item H and I. Item 10, receive a report from the Planning Commission, PSD, OPC, Historical Commission, Paint Creek Trailways Commission, and RARA. I will do Planning Commission. We had a public hearing. Oh, that was postponed. So we did the O2 district to the O1, the one that we heard tonight, the special exception. We also did a consideration of a site plan approval for a facade renovations for a hair salon, Strafigo, 130 4th Street. It's going to fix up that building and really clean it up. It's a little bit more contemporary than we used to, but it's perfectly fine. It's going to be nice over there. And we worked on zoning ordinance regarding transition district and zoning ordinance regarding downtown edge 1, district DE. We saw a conceptual site plan presentation for First Street and Diversion Riverside Apartments, which would be across the street from First Street Lofts. And it was really a conceptual, kind of getting feedback. And I think the number one feedback from all of the planners after our special meeting was us taking this step back, looking at these projects from a more holistic. What is the impact for the residents? What is the impact on traffic? What is the impact for pedestrians? What is the impact on safety, fire, police? So those are the kinds of things we kind of express to these developers, that we really want you to have to look. You have to look at these projects, the whole project, and these are the kinds of questions that we're going to be asking. So I think the Planning Commission meeting went really, really well. We got a lot done, and during miscellaneous, Mr. Moshari came back because he wanted a public hearing, and we are not at that stage in the development process. He has not come with a full plan for us. We said to him, your plan is very pretty, but that doesn't mean anything. We need to go look at this. The community really, it is in the best interest of the community that we look at these projects in a more detail. So because we only have very few parcels of land that are still open to develop, and mass and size and setbacks and all of those are important issues. So I think the Planning Commission, it was a really good meeting. PSD, did you have a meeting?
We did, and we really talked about the farmer's market that's now, maybe Nick can elaborate on that because I missed that meeting. But I did get to see the drawing and the concept, and that's one of these big projects that we continually need to talk about because it's a big change in our community. It's a big change of what could be, what if. It's nothing that is cemented at all right now, but we still need to continue to educate and communicate.
Absolutely, and they talked about a couple events. The Halloween event's going to be basically the same, where they keep it moving around, but they're going to add a movies at the end of
Yes,
the
that's right.
evening
Yeah,
at
that's gonna
Trick or
be
Treat
fun.
down, like outside movies, which are really, really fun. I think it's the Lego movie, Lego Batman.
The Batman, yeah.
There you go. See, how's that? Never going to see it, but that's okay. So, so they talked about those events, and then Christy talked about the new event that everybody's excited about, this caroling in the city, that we got MDOT to allow us to close Main Street for 4 hours on a Sunday night. I think it's 17th, 18th, the week before Christmas, and have a giant caroling event downtown, which would be awesome. So they talked about that, and then the rest of the meeting. Actually, she did a presentation with Sue Keels, but that she has done with Sue Keels, where she talked about Shop Like a Local, and then their experience of going to New York. Oakland County paid for Christy and for Sue Keels to go to New York to get training on these marketplaces. So they went to 7 different markets, and the county picked up the tab, which was awesome. Gave them really good experience from financing to how do you put this together? How do you make it sustainable? All in preparation for what Councilwoman Russell just talked about, the total package look at this. You hear lots of rumors about, oh, it's a farmer's. This isn't a year-round farmer's market. This is probably going to be called the Rochester Central Market. It's a economic engine if it can be pulled off. So the first step was the DDA made an investment to help pay for an architect to look at different sites. We honed in on the farmer's market lot. That's our lot, 0 land cost, makes the most sense. We have parking at the top. How can we make that work? Then to create a best of, we have Saginaw, Grand Rapids, Flint, Bay City, Davidson, Milwaukee. There's markets everywhere. We will probably be one of the last folks in if we do this, but we're going to take the best of each to make it work, right? So, and Victor Soroki, he's got mega experience planning the inside of retail operations like Papa Joe's and Westbourne markets, and he got it. So he put together a floor plan. Now the next step is to have that floor plan turn into a pro forma. How much can you charge for each event? What's the kitchen going to make revenues wise? So they're doing all their homework. Then it will go to the DDA board with a complete package that says this can be sustainable. Is it going to take 2 years to get on its feet? Is it going to do it in a year? What is it? Then the PSD would be charged with being a partner in that to say, if we're stuck running it, how are we going to do that? How many employees does it take? What's the pro forma there? Then it comes back to City Council. So we've got a lot of homework to do. You have to talk about how you're going to bond for it. We'll be back with the bond council. How are you going to, do you have to extend the DDA's lifetime so you can pay for the bonds? Lots of stuff. So it will not come here unless it's vetted out 100%. There won't be any, you're going to outguess them. They're going to have every answer for you before that ever comes forward.
But
so.
but in the meantime, we will be providing, DDA is going to talk about it this week's meeting.
Yep.
So there'll be updates on a regular
Absolutely. Keep it
basis to
going.
tell you where we are in this
the process. Yep. Absolutely. So that was about it.
And one of the things I think that might be helpful is that because we just saw the drawings, the DDA is going to see the drawings, but as council, and we're going to have a new board on council, is to expose them to that, because if they're not on one of those commissions, then, and having in the minutes and actually seeing the drawing, there's a lot to
actually,
go.
what I'd like to do after the next DDA meeting, the liaison, I'm sure we can provide the packet to City Council, they can see everything. That would be at the time. So. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, absolutely.
2 questions. One, I would like to see, as you said, I would like to see that stuff on the farmer's market way up front, because, if it's just, here it is, we have to vote on it that night, I'm going to have an issue with that, because I think there's a lot of issues with this about, is that something government should be doing? Should the DDA be taking on massive debt, which this council has to ultimately handle if that doesn't go well? We're the lender of last resort here. And also, are we going to bring the closing of Main Street to City Council? Because I think that, to me, that's a major issue during the light show and things like that. I mean, downtown is packed with traffic, and to shut down downtown for 4 or 5 hours, I mean, sounds like a massive potential issue.
It will come before council as a special project or special event.
A special event, yes.
So I think that's another thing. That should come here before all this planning's done. And it sounds like there's planning done before it comes to City Council.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, I think we got to be very clear that those are issues, and just because Christian Tavarro thinks it's a good idea, it has to come up here, because there's a lot of other issues that go along with that. Thank you.
Well, and I can appreciate your, concern, and it's like the chicken before the egg or the egg before the chicken. When you're going to MDOT and looking at a date, is that a possibility? Is that even something that we can even bring to council? And this wasn't done just by Christie, but by the PSD board, and really something that we wanted to refresh, the big bright light. And of course, all this stuff always has controversy where it's a tension rope. You have to have tension so you can walk that tight rope. And it's not that everybody agrees, but we're trying to make things work out for the community as a whole. But with that, the MDOT also said, well, this is the best time, like on a Sunday when it's the lowest traffic period. So those are things that we are looking at. And that's why I like these reports, so that we are bringing this to you so there's no surprises, because I don't like surprises either.
So, and it was my understanding that it would come to us after MDOT gave their approval, because that's part of it goes with the approval process. So I was told it would be coming to us as soon as MDOT gave their approval, and there was some guidelines set by PSD to move forward. So, Councilmember Bixson, those are good questions. Councilmember Bixson, OPC, anything new you want to report on the OPC?
No, we passed the budget, which then we came here and we passed, and I think all three communities passed the budget. We got an update from Renee Courtright on what's going on, and we were so successful at OPC, we didn't have an August meeting. But we will have one September, whatever.
So I'll move on historical till Councilmember Ray's here. Paint Creek Trail, I can't even say it, Trailways Commission.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, so we have a joint meeting tomorrow with Oakland Township Parks. And this is really to look at the engineer's point for Bridge 33.7. I was going to look that up to give you the exact particular, but then I changed my computer. But the bridge, to look at the engineer designs, it's a big project. We will be closing down the trail for a period of time, and there's no really good way to detour that. So what it's Bridge 33.7. Oh, thank you. And so I'm not going to read this whole motion, but
he's trying to help you out.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So this is the renovation of that bridge. It's really a cool bridge, but there's deterioration. That whole bridge has to come down. And so we are having a joint meeting. So that's tomorrow. So I'll be able to give you a better report when we come back.
Okay.
And then we're meeting again tomorrow for the Paint Creek Trailway. However, we did go out to rebid for the project off the Clinton River Trail because no one bid that. So it's a very small project, and maybe our scope was a little bit too big, so we kind of narrowed that in. We are looking for volunteers for the Labor Day walk, and we are seriously considering expanding the Paint Creek Trail to Children's Park in Lake Orion. That field trip got canceled, but to be continued on that.
Okay, and RARA liaison, Councilmember Peterson.
Yes, ma'am. So we had our meeting, first off, I'll start with letting everybody know that the Executive Director, Ron Jewell, submitted the 2018 fiscal year budget to both municipalities, Rochester and Rochester Hills, on August 1st. Then we actually met on August 1st before those were submitted, and that our budget was submitted to both municipalities with a 2% compensation increase in the budget. And also wanted to let everyone know that the new program book has been mailed out to the community. You go through and look at that. There's a lot of awesome new programs being offered from the facility, especially on the side with the new recreational building. Also, there's the site plan. There's some issues with the site plan that they've been really working on. Should have everything completed before they come here to the city on August 28th. Also wanted to just acknowledge the board members that sit on there, because we have our resident board members and school and everybody else, and what that they have expressed the concern to let everybody know that they love doing what they've been doing, and they love the program. They love what RARA stands for in the community. So just want to let everybody know that I, as the liaison here, they have been doing an outstanding job making sure that rah-rah is where it is for us. And let me see if there was anything else. Those were the major things that we talked of. The last 3 meetings that we had that you had in your packet. We kind of went through everything else with the programs that are going on, but we've actually just been in budget discussions, and it ended on August 1st, and those were submitted.
Councilmember Bixson, did
Yeah,
you have?
I just had a comment. We had talked about some issues about RARA in a couple past meetings here. I think a few of us had mentioned, that, there should be some compromise on it, and I think from my understanding there was compromise, and I want to congratulate the RARA board and Ms. Peterson and Brian Wright, our representative, for, stepping up on that leadership and, presenting a budget I think everybody can feel pretty comfortable with. So thank you.
I will say that Sister City meeting, I left the notes on, and so at the next meeting I will have the minutes. It's a pretty informal, but I'll have a minutes so to give everybody on the last Sister City meeting and when the next one's going to occur. Next, we will move on to new business for referral and miscellaneous. Mr. City Manager.
Yep, the first item is the check reports. I have 3. There was the 7/20, the 7/27, and then the August 3rd. Besides that, we did include, and I'll hand it over really to my partner in crime here, our attorney, to talk about the unsolicited and unwarranted papers. I know it was actually Councilmember Ray who actually brought this forward.
I
but
did.
I think it was Councilmember Peterson.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Ray must have been the one who followed up on me on this one. I apologize. Really, our attorney has drafted a letter. We've had some issues with, I think, in the past with the newspaper that's the one that's been wrapped up in the pink sleeve that's been out. This is a way for the city to basically create a process when we do have, and then we would have residents who would want to basically be on that non-solicited list, or if we have anybody afterwards, we'd use our website so people could continually to update that. We would then provide that information to the newspapers. And I don't know if Attorney Crott had anything else you wanted to add.
Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you. So this was a suggested letter that I put together, just if the City Council was interested in pursuing this after, there's been several discussions, including Mr. Ray, who talked to me offline about this, and really what this would require from the city is, I think the one that comes out mostly is the pink bags. This like, we come to find out that that's actually a free press, a straight free press, and talking to some people that in the past, phone calls to the free press have helped. And it goes for a period of time where it's good, and then I don't know if they change delivery people and it starts back up again. So really, there's 2 things to consider. One is, does the city want to have a take on that challenge of taking residents' concerns of, I don't want this particular publication, and to assemble that, then be responsible for then communicating that to the newspaper, and then if they violate that, the expectation is, well, then that would be considered littering, right? Because it's unwanted, it was communicated, and now do you want your city staff to then monitor those situations and then proceed with enforcement? So the letter is merely a discussion starter of, do you want the city administration and staff to take on this task?
Councilmember Giovanelli.
No, I mean, I jest, but we've had this thing gone round and round, and if memory serves, Mr. Attorney, you correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a First Amendment issue here that basically allows them to do this, and we ad nauseum try to figure out a way to circumvent the process. And bottom line is that they have a right to throw that piece of junk on our driveway. Did I paraphrase that properly?
The junk was the legal term,
Yes,
so that was good.
sorry.
Yeah, no, I previously provided opinions on this, that it does, have a First Amendment smell to it, that this is that curve around or tried to figure out a way to turn it in from what's on the paper to the fact that it's litter.
Right.
So again, is that black and white? No, but it's something that if city feels compelled to move forward with that. There's nothing stopping from any resident at any time telling these people, I don't want it. So it's a matter of, does the city, when the city gets involved, that's when the First Amendment issue comes into play.
Sure.
Councilmember Jovenelli.
Thank you. And just to continue, so what I don't want to have happen is I don't want to have Blaine and Nick be the pink bag newspaper cops that have to deal, right? I know, and you guys are doing the Lord's work, and I appreciate that. But this is just one of those things that, we as, fundamental founding document of this country, the First Amendment was built on, but there's people that find a way around it. And what I don't want to have happen is turning our administration into the pink bag police and just sort of overburdening staff. Because the natural outcome of this is that the resident's going to say, I put my name on a list, you didn't, I'm still getting the paper, this is your fault, so you got to fix it. So this thing can just spiral out of control. So I'm not a fan of this at all. I sympathize. I'll be honest with you, I go out Saturday morning with a cup of coffee and my dog, and I pick it up and I walk it and I throw it in the recycle bin, and I just move on. So, it's a pain in the butt, I get it, but I just don't want to have, 3,500 of those, dealing with, lined up here at City Hall, throwing them through the window because they're sick of it. I get it, I hate it as well, but I just don't think that's our job, it's sad to say.
Councilmember Peterson.
And I mean, I've had a lot of residents complain that that's been, they don't like receiving it, and I don't like it because, just as Councilmember Jovenelli said, you pick it up and you throw it in the recycling. I mean, we don't need a larger, trash mounting up over by the palace and all of that anymore with all of this here. So, but I do not want the city to be policing this.
And I'll just say, I'm not in favor of anything like this. I guess the best standard answer is when somebody calls, we can advise them to call the Free Press, the news, whomever is throwing the paper, and ask them to make a request to have it stop being thrown at their home. But other than that, I think we have other things that we need to do as a city to make sure our residents are safe and things are done. So, any other council member? Vixen.
I mean, I agree, just I guess it's not a ditch worth dying in for the city, but at the same time, it seems like we're just giving in. It's clearly litter. It's not the First Amendment. Are we going to let McDonald's come and throw trash in our front yard, on our driveway? And it's like, well, it's advertisement for McDonald's, so it's First Amendment. Where do you draw a line? It's clearly litter. But, the city administration says there's nothing we can do, but kind of the principle of the thing, we're just letting it.
Well, I don't say we're just letting it. I'm saying that we can, advise our residents to call up and say they don't want it delivered. Other than us then having to start writing tickets and issuing, I don't see anything else. It's just my opinion. The Mayor Pro Tem, did you have something you wanted to add? Okay, anything else on this side? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Does anybody have anything to say in the audience?
I just wanted to say that when we first formed the DDA, there were newsstands all over downtown, and we wanted to consolidate those into newsstand area, and they came in with that argument, but they backed off of it and put their newsstand in the newsstand area. So the thing that really bothers me, and I don't get any of those, fortunately, they don't do them on Main Street, I guess. I didn't say that. Sue Douglas, 1228 North Main Street. I've been saying that all night. I'm sorry. But what I noticed in Rochester Hills, especially when I was running for office and out doing lit drop and stuff like that, if somebody wasn't home, their driveway would be piled up with a week's worth of stuff. So everybody knew they weren't home. I didn't drop anything off there because nobody was home or nobody lived there. I don't know which. But so it can be an invitation for somebody who wants to do bad things too, if those things are just thrown in people's driveway and they're not home.
Okay.
So, you know, they have to have some liability and all of that too. It isn't a simple First Amendment right, really.
Okay, thank you,
So, okay.
thank you. Mr. City Manager, any other?
Yeah, continuing on for miscellaneous items, if I may. I won't steal any thunder for the Rochester homecoming, but I do just want to thank our staff in Christie, DPW, police, fire, really outstanding job. I've been very privileged to work with these individuals and to see the type of event, had family and friend in town. It was just great. So again, big thank you and kudos to our staff. In the memo that I put together as well is there's a quick update on our enterprise resource planning software, the ERP software. Anthony's laid out that basically we're getting close. So through August through October, we're really moving forward with our BSNA software, and we'll have some updates along the lines with some training. And then I know Rob would totally be all over the Historical Commission book. So we do have the flyer. I'll
Thank you,
highlight.
it's not here.
Yeah. So my
We can-
my brevity on that one is it's up. Information's up on the city's website. We're working with the publisher to get it moving so that we would have it available for the holiday season.
And I think he has some good news on that, so I won't steal his thunder.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Deputy City Manager. Madam Clerk.
Nothing more this evening.
Mr. City Attorney. Mr. City Attorney.
Cause enough.
Thank you.
Councilmember Bixon.
Yes. I wanted to wish Rochester a happy 200-year bicentennial, and I had a brief story, and actually piggyback. Friday night, my wife and I were walking, and it started to pour down rain, and we were right by the building at Romeo and Main, by chance, under the little stain, and a car pulled up in traffic, pulled over, and it was Roger Knapp, who used to be mayor and city council person, who I know a little, but not well, who saw Maria and I, pulled over, and gave us a ride home. And I thought, you know what, we're still a nice community. 200 years later, Rochester is still a great place to live. So I thought that was nice, and I thought I'd pass it on. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to, now, I'm sure you'll get to it, but I just wanted to tell both you and Mayor Pro Tem what a great job you guys did on Saturday. The turnout just blew me away. I had no idea there'd be that many people for that dedication. And had I known, I wouldn't have rolled it in shorts and a Michigan t-shirt, but whatever. But no, it's fantastic, and I'll defer the rest of the discussion point on that one. And I just wanted to ask for an excused absence. Last meeting, we were probably in the Outer Banks of North Carolina about the time this was going on.
So moved.
Support. Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem, support by the Councilmember Peterson. Madam Clerk, the roll.
Dalden?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Giovanelli?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson.
All set this evening.
I'm going to ask for miscellaneous right now before the Mayor Pro Tem and I speak, because we have some good things to say.
I didn't have a chance to say it under the agenda item, but when you're talking about these sight lines for taller buildings, remember you're only looking at one perspective. Rochester was always the heart of the hills, and the goal was not to have anything towering over those few historic blocks that we have. And that can happen, and the view from other points on the hills coming in may not be very pretty.
Thank you.
So that's my only point on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask a question you need to think about in the planning of downtown. It's going to come up in a few years. Let's say that we build the new farmers market and we build the Masheri's project. I move in and I decide that I want to go to dinner at the Rochester Chop House with my friends. So 6 of us come down the elevator and we get on our little scooters because we can't walk no more. And we go up to Paul's shop, to Rochester Chop House. Where do we park our little scooters and where do we recharge them?
It's a great question.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other miscellaneous? Mayor Pro Tem.
That's why we have to relook at our parking.
Get video right here, right?
I think there's two things in the newsletter that might be helpful to citizens is when you talked about, city manager, the droplet on the meter, if that could be exposed and maybe a picture of what that looks like, I think that would be really helpful. And also the tree ordinance, just to have where to find it, maybe just a little blurb on what this is the season, and so really to take a look at that. 50th anniversary for Crittenton is tomorrow, so we're celebrating that, and happy birthday to Crittenton. The bicentennial we could not have been happier with, and really thank you to all the staff. It was from Christy to Rena to the chiefs to everyone that participated, the mayor. There was so much time, City Beautiful, so much time that was put into it. And Bev Rewald and Mary Miller couldn't have been more pleased with having the proclamations given to them. It was very important to them, very important part of our history. And if you saw the little TV blurb, I did a little piece of the history of why we celebrate this bicentennial, because it's an important part of us, and we have to continue to tell our story. And what we're doing right now, we're making history. But what our decisions are will also make history for the future. And with that, I will be missing the next meeting. I'm going on to the UP. Good for you. So excited.
I just want to thank everybody. We had over 200 people at the Monument Sundial. And like the Mayor Pro Tem said, it was a great presentation. She talked about the history and how we got here over the last 200 years. Then we moved on to honor some people that were important in our history, and then we talked about the Bicentennial Monument and the hard work that the Bicentennial Committee did, that City Beautiful did, the DPW, the Police Department, the Fire Department, the DPW Director, Shannon, Nick, outstanding job, Blaine, outstanding job, Christy, and like the Bicentennial Committee. It turned out fabulous. People, the positive interaction with people that day was just amazing. Then we went on to the bicycle parade, and the DPW vehicles, the police vehicles, the fire trucks, the food, the bands that they had. And then the end at night was just outstanding. I can't say how great it was with the balloon glow and the fireworks. It was, and there were thousands, and I'm not exaggerating, that park, thousands, we had thousands of people there. So between the over 200 to start the day and over the thousands that we had to finish the day, I think it was a huge success, and I'm thank everybody. And if I missed anybody, pancake breakfast was great. I couldn't go. Yep. So I can't thank everybody enough. And if I've missed anybody, please understand it wasn't done. I just can't think of everybody, but I tried to remember. So it was a great celebration, and happy birthday to the city of Rochester and Bicentennial. So with that, meeting adjourned.